Dunham and Tom Pippin Sports. Fox 6 News, because you matter.
Home loans denied, their credit trashed, and a Wisconsin couple had no idea why it was all happening.
But the federal government did now. Fox 6 investigator Brian Polson shows you why the feds kept it a secret for nearly a decade.
You know, it's hard enough to protect your identity if you know someone is using your personal information. Next to impossible when the government knows and doesn't tell you. But it's why the IRS said nothing. That has a Princeton couple on a mission to change federal law. Nearly 2 hours northwest of Milwaukee, the tiny community of Princeton, population 1,214, is the kind of place where people go to get away from big city problems. But identity theft is a crime that knows no bounds.
This is a crime where our federal government, if somebody's using your social security number, it's okay. And if you're looking for something, Bob builds these chicken nesters.
A few days a week, Debbie Ginterberg runs an antique furniture store. But for the past 6 years, she's spent countless additional hours trying to repair the damage caused by two men who took the key to her husband's identity, his social security number.
Thank God I got her to do this, because there's no way I could have gathered all this information.
Robert Ginterberg doesn't say much.
On the mouth, no.
But make no mistake, he's angry about all the trouble it's caused. A half-built house on the couple's Greene County lot stands as a testament to the home loan that was inexplicably denied. Then there were the mysterious credit card bills and a line of credit for a new Ford truck.
You can't get one because the social was already used. But they don't tell you that. They just deny you the loan. And then you're like, what?
None of it made any sense until...
In March of '07, I got this phone call.
A bill collector finally told the Ginterbergs that two men in the Chicago area were using Robert's social security number. In fact, Cornelio Suarez had been using it since at least 1999, when he bought a house near Cicero. He bought another one in Franklin Park in 2003 and a third home in Addison in 2005. He also used the number to secure credit for a Ford Expedition, a Ford Explorer, and a Ford E150 van. And the Ginterbergs say both Suarez and another man used Robert's social to get credit cards, insurance coverage, driver's licenses, cell phones, and medical care. But that's not what upsets them the most.
Our federal agencies have known for years that this is going on.
Both the IRS and Social Security Administration have known since at least 2001 that Cornelio Suarez and Enrique Jimenez were earning income using an invalid Social Security number. But they never told the rightful owner, Robert Ginterberg, because tax records in the United States are private, even the tax records of an identity thief.
In this country, that the criminal has privacy rights. I can't think of another crime. I can't. I tried. I laid in bed last night tossing and turning, thinking of any other criminal activity would you get such privacy and protection. No, you don't.
So Debbie had to investigate on her own. She won't say how, but she obtained hundreds of pages of financial information about the men using her husband's personal information, including records from the IRS master file, a fact that earned her a phone call from the White House.
They said that I was guilty of 2 felonies. I violated these 2 men's U.S. privacy rights.
That's right. The feds were threatening to charge her.
I was adamant. I said, do it. Charge me. I don't care. You know, that ought to get on national news. We're trying to get on national news. It's like you want the whole nation to know this is happening. This isn't happening in Wisconsin. This is happening everywhere.
Debbie never was charged, and in 2007, she finally convinced prosecutors in Illinois to go after Cornelio Suarez. He was indicted for identity theft, convicted, and sentenced to 6 years in prison. But the decision was reversed in 2011 because the state couldn't prove Suarez knew the Social Security number he was using belonged to a real person.
He was vindicated and set free. We have it in here. Now he's free.
He didn't go far. After Suarez was released from prison, the Ginterbergs lost track of him. But we found him right here in Maywood, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. You used his Social Security number to buy cars and houses and get jobs. And he's been dealing with this for years.
No, and that's not I use him for work, for just to give it bring that food to my family.
Suarez says he only used Robert Ginterberg's Social Security number, not his name.
I use my name. I know you say his name and everything, but I mean, I was I was paying my bills. I pay my bills. I didn't do like regular people do. I don't do bad things to nobody.
In other words, Suarez doesn't think he did anything wrong.
Can I ask, how are you able to work now?
Are they able to work now? I have a permit to work.
But do you have, are you using a social security number now? Do you have your own social security number?
I can't talk about it. You want to talk, you talk to my lawyer.
I don't care if what reason an individual has, if they're poor, if they're, they want a better life. I don't care. This is wrong.
Wisconsin Congressman Tom Petri agrees.
The Ginterbergs suffered an injustice. It ought to be corrected.
In February, he introduced a bill that would require the IRS to notify taxpayers when someone else is using their Social Security number fraudulently.
I guess their first job is collecting taxes, but to say that they can't notify someone when they know that someone else is using their Social Security number, it can't be that complicated.
But there is a complicating factor. You might call it the elephant in the room. It's the polarizing issue of illegal immigration.
And it's wrong for our federal government to know about it and do nothing about it because they're afraid politically it's going to do some damage.
When Petri first introduced his Social Security Identity Defense Act in 2010, it had bipartisan support. He introduced it again in 2011, again with a pair of Democrats as co-sponsors. This is now his third try, but so far there are just 6 co-sponsors, all Republicans.
Why? This is something to help everybody.
I don't think it is a particularly partisan issue. Republicans and Democrats all have Social Security numbers.
Another Republican, U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, agreed to meet with the Ginterbergs last month.
Morning, how you doing? Yeah, Senator.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Bob?
After a 30-minute closed-door meeting, the senator can be heard offering his opinion.
That's ridiculous.
But the Ginterbergs know if they truly want to see change in Washington, there's a long road still ahead of them.
I don't care. This is wrong. This is absolutely wrong.
The IRS now tells Fox 6 they can tell you if someone is fraudulently using your Social Security number. They just can't tell you who's doing it or what they're doing with it. To that end, the IRS created a notification system a few years ago that's supposed to alert taxpayers when someone is misusing their personal information. But in 2011, a federal audit found the IRS was still failing to notify the majority of victims it sampled. The IRS declined my request for an on-camera interview, but in a statement, the agency says it has improved its notification process since 2011 and has doubled the number of employees that are working identity theft cases.
But if the IRS is already allowed to notify taxpayers of identity theft, then why would Congressman Petri's bill even be necessary?
Well, it's a good question. The difference is that while the IRS is allowed to notify taxpayers or victims, his bill would require it. In fact, it would require the IRS to share details of Social Security fraud with the FBI as well, potentially with state and local law enforcement as well. Believe it or not, that kind of interagency sharing is right now prohibited under current law.
It's appalling that it's not already done.
It's
and that there's
hard
not
to
massive
believe.
support to change that. That's what's appalling.
Yeah, it is hard to imagine.
And Mr. Johnson's comment, this is ridiculous, meaning he's siding with the victims.
That's the way I took it, sure.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
You got it.
Interesting. Deal or no deal? Union members meet with workers from Caterpillar today to discuss a deal. Did they reach